Well, so we know there's an ongoing issue in the northern part of Nigeria in which we had a camp that security forces in Nigeria, the Nigerian military, mistook as a camp for Boko Haram.
Yeah. And they just blew the place up, resulting in a lot of injuries.
And death.
Yeah, and death as well. Sadly, there were medical personnel who were injured in this process. A lot of volunteers also caught up in this incident as well.
And we have on the line Shehu Akioye. Did I pronounce your name well?
Well, Akioye, yes.
Akioye. And then the first one is Shehu.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so you work with the Nation newspaper of Nigeria.
Yes.
That'll be based in Lagos?
Yes.
Can you exactly tell us how you're related to this story and what really happened?
Well, yesterday news came out in Nigeria that a bomb has been dropped on a civilian population in Maiduguri in Borno State. The bomb actually was intended for the insurgents, as we hear from the Air Force and the Ministry of Defense. They said it was a mistake. It was mistakenly dropped on the civilian population. So that was what we know for now from the authorities.
I have my colleague here, Mama Viuso, and she'll ask you a couple of questions too.
Yeah, we've heard that there's been lots of injuries. Can you take us through the number of deaths and those who've been injured in this attack?
I'm actually on my way trying to see if I can get to that location now. So there has been conflicting reports. Even the military has not come up with a particular number, but we've had numbers from 52 to 100. So it could be safe to say that at least 50 people may have been fatally wounded, while a couple of others are injured. But before the end of the day, we should be able to get a clearer picture of the actual number of injuries and deaths from this unfortunate incident.
So what does this mean, really? How could, the question I asked myself, how could a whole military with all the intelligence mistake a refugee camp as a Boko Haram camp, if you like? How could that have happened?
Well, there is, as per the refugee camp, the defense headquarters yesterday came out to say it was not a refugee camp, really, but a village, a community. But it really doesn't matter if it's a refugee camp or a village, because we are talking about human life there. But to your question, I think these sort of things happen. It was a mistake, and in war, the military will tell you that once in a while we have issues of friendly fire. We have issues like this. So until we have the full investigation from the military, which the Air Force has promised to start immediately, we are waiting on them to know what actually went down yesterday and how, whether it's human error or it is a technical error or it's the sabotage. Nobody can say for now. So we are just keeping our fingers crossed. By the end of the day, we should be able to have a clearer picture of what happened. I'm hoping to speak with the chief of the air staff today, and we'll see. We'll hear from him what he knows.
So has President Buhari said anything about this situation?
Yes, there was a statement yesterday by the president. He commiserated with the victims and the families, and he said that they are doing everything to ensure that those who are injured are given proper medical treatment, and the investigations will be launched immediately, and both the remote and the immediate causes will know the remote and the immediate causes in the course of the investigation.
So this was part of, if you like, series of airstrike attacks. Did any of these targeted strikes hit the intended destination? Because this was wrong. But did it get to any of the Boko Haram destinations?
Well, I know from releases we get from the military, I know there are strikes that happens every week, and many of them have hit their intended destination. This is actually the very first time we are having such a situation of mistaking bomb on the civilian population, so to speak. So there has been several hits at the at their intended destination, on Boko Haram targets in Sambisa Forest. There has been several of that, and like I said, this is the first time we are having this sort of situation. So the Air Force authorities are really doing everything they can to get to the bottom of this.
Finally, just before we let you go, what kind of damage has this caused, if you like, to the image of Nigeria or the military?
To the image of Nigeria.
Or the military specific?
Really, a lot of people are angry. A lot of people are sad. A lot of people are asking questions about why this will happen. And the military has always maintained that in a situation of war, which we have in the northeast of Nigeria, that once in a while you can have a situation like this, and it's not really peculiar to Nigeria. It's also it's happened in international and so-called advanced countries before. We've had situations in Iraq. We had situations in Syria where sophisticated fighter jets have bombed civilian hospitals and civilian targets mistakenly, so to say. So I think with time, everyone will know that this is one of the accidents of war, and just very extremely regrettable. It's extremely sad that it has happened, because the Nigerian Air Force, since this campaign, has really maintained a very, very high level of professionalism, and they've done the best they could to ensure that such a thing does not happen. But it has happened. I think what they can do is to take the lessons and move on from here. We cannot say that we should disband the Nigerian Air Force because of this incident. We are going to lose a lot, disbanding it and taking the lessons and moving on.
Yeah.
So I think what they would do is to take the lessons and move on with the work they are supposed to do. It's really a sad incident. It's highly regrettable.
Certainly.
And
yeah, and my understanding
yes,
is you travel with the Air Force once in a while when they go on such missions. Would you say that generally the Nigerian Army is winning the war against Boko Haram?
I would say that yes, the military, both the Air Force, the Navy, and the Nigerian Army, in the last 1.5 years, have really done a lot to turn the tide and to change the course of this war on insurgency. From what I have seen so far, they have been able to a large extent, degrade the capacities of Boko Haram. The army spokesman was telling us the other day that what we have now are remnants of Boko Haram fighters who have fled the parts of Sambisa Forest that have been taken over. So they have merged with the civilian population, and they are carrying out asymmetric attacks on civilian population. So I would say that the kind of attacks we used to see 3 years ago, we don't have them any longer. We do not have, as we speak now in Borno State, there is not one single local government being taken over in control of the Boko Haram fighters. That was not what it was 3 years ago. That was not what it was 4 years ago. And in fact, about 2.5 years ago, Boko Haram controls about 11 local governments in Borno State. So today they are controlling none. So I would say that the war has not been won completely, but it has gone a long way. The capacity of the terrorists have been largely degraded, and what we have, we might just be seeing, the beginning of the end of the war on terror if they continue the way they are going.
All right, Sharon Akioye with the Nation newspaper in Nigeria. We're grateful for a time on the AM show on Joy News this morning. Thanks a lot for the brief.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, certainly. I was tempted to call him Sean, man.
Yeah, the names looks like, but when you have the accent and the way they pronounce them, it's Sheung.
Sheung Akioye. But that's an update
like
from
like Olusegun Obasanjo, but it's pronounced, it's written Olusegun.
Yeah,
but it's pronounced Olusegun.
Given us a brief of this attack on innocent civilians, very, very unexpected. But we're told that this has been like a big blow to the Air Force of Nigeria as well. And they've promised, in a report that I listened to, they promised that this would never ever happen again.
And we should put all these things into perspective, because Nigeria is a very big country, has a population almost over 100, getting close to the 200 million mark. So people could be in the south and not know some of these attacks happening in the north, or perhaps hearing it on radio, but not having a feel of it. And so that level of empathy would not necessarily be there as far as the downstream citizens are concerned. But it also talks about how some sections, there could be perhaps the minority sections of the country, especially up north, having been under the exigency of Boko Haram and suffering some of these difficulties and incidents, which curtails their movement and doesn't give them access to a lot of the basic needs any human being would need anywhere on this very planet. And it's something that we should all be sympathetic to and hope that perhaps the government will be in a position to, if not curb or quell the insurgency by Boko Haram, but do something about it. It's been going on for a long time.
Certainly. And Sharon, who we just spoke with, that reporter with the Nation newspaper in Nigeria, is he's on his way actually joining the Air Force to go to inspect the base, and what has happened. Hopefully we can get a lot more fine details later on when he speaks to the Air Force right here on Joy News.